Okay, so we got Jin and Leo and Lahira and Nyrus and myself, Wolf. Today we're just going to casually talk about what we know about the game, the Repop. And right now, I don't know if you guys seen it, there's a post by J.C. Smith. It was a response to Thorl, one of our members. Thorl asks, as I understand it, or I'm sorry, as I understood, full corpse looting was still really up in the air. Is this more firm now? So he's curious about corpse looting. And J.C. Smith responded, there will almost certainly be some type of corpse looting in the hardcore server. Almost said hardware server. And it might be the hardware server. If we do well. Will there be some type of corpse looting in the hardcore server, but the specifics are still up in the air? So I guess the question to you guys is, what do you feel would be proper looting in a hardcore server? And does anybody jump in?
Well, you've always have that mechanic of full loot in, let's say, Darkfall. But the real issue here is, in a game like Repop, where the siege mechanic is such a large portion of the game, where if you die, you technically respawn, because in this game, death is, just a hindrance. If you have full loot, how exactly do you defend the city and respawn in your city? And how would that work if you lose all your items? Is an issue that comes up here, at least to my eyes, where if you die and it's full loot and you're defending your city, you're practically useless after that point.
Well, yeah, I agree. In Darkfall, and that's how it was in Darkfall, it was full loot, and the majority of the time when I went into battle, I went in naked because I'm a horrible PvPer. And I knew I was going to lose the loot, and so people kept giving me sets of armor, and I just kept keeping them in my in the bank vault. So I had multiple sets of armor, but I never wanted to wear it because I know I would lose it. It was difficult to play that game because of the full loot rules.
I've never played a game that had somewhat looting of corpses or anything like that, so it's obviously I'm not thrilled about it. I've never actually lost anything to somebody killed me in PvP. That would make it just that much more aggravating. But I could see a lot of benefits from it, especially if you're going on a hardcore server. It just kind of makes sense to have a greater loss. But I really don't have any experience in this, so there's not much for me to say.
Well, just I guess so that we all understand it. Full loot would be you die and then I assume you respawn somewhere, and then you'd either have to run back to the bank and get your spare gear, and that's what we did in Darkfall. We'd have spare gear to run and get, or at least the guys that went out with armor. And so, when you're getting owned in a battle, that's hard. One point. We were getting attacked so much, it was just a bunch of naked guys trying to defend. And that included your weapon and everything like that.
I could see where it wouldn't allow for long, drawn-out battles either. After a while, everybody dies. So, like you said, everyone's going to end up naked. So it's going to really kill some really, in my opinion, it might, since I've never done it. I could be wrong, but in the past I've been in games where there's these long, drawn-out PvP battles that go on for a long time, which is a lot of fun, but the second you die, you could possibly lose everything. Like you said, you got to run and get spare stuff. It just kills potential for great battles, in my opinion.
And of course, on the flip side is when you kill somebody, you want some type of reward for it. Get their stuff. And also, I should say, if you have the best armor on, then obviously you're going to be harder to kill. So you might not lose it; you might actually win.
You'll also be a bigger target if you have the best stuff.
Exactly.
There's also the issue that if you make it a full loot system in a siege game, in a siege type of situation, or just a battle type of situation where well, specifically the Repop staff didn't want this game to become simply a numbers game where you Zerg rush and all that, stuff. But if that happens, you just have to put in more resources. You keep putting in those people to kill, and eventually, as long as you have more people, you'll pretty much come out victor when it's full loot. Because eventually the guys with the equipment will die, and then once they die, they're no longer a threat. They come in naked, which would be another issue because the skills in this game are based on your weapon. Although there is a fist fighting skill set.
The fist fighting?
Yeah, they have like a martial arts type thing.
Oh.
Yeah. They actually showed a video about that too, where they were just just like doing spinning kicks and jumping around, punching. Yeah, it was interesting. Kind of looked cool though. Anyways, back on topic. Unless you spec into that stuff, really, you're pretty much useless without a proper weapon on you.
I'll say this, in the games that I've played, and which I'm going to base everything on for this game, either half the games use a no-loot system, and very rarely you ever saw a game use a full-on loot where you had the chance to select different, up to maybe, let's say, 4 items that became non-lootable to you. And I can see them doing something similar to that, and also adding, something that you can buy from the store, which be, spend, real life money to protect another slot, let's say, because I don't know how they're going to do it as far as, a slot for your arms, for your head, neck, so forth. So maybe you can have the ability to, when you reach level 20, let's say, you're able to claim 8 items that are soul-bound to your tune, rather than have everything just go to waste, regardless of hardcore or not, because let's face it, you kill somebody, you loot them all, it works fine, it's great, you're happy. If you're on the end of that, it sucks.
Yeah.
And you're going to be down and out for a while.
So sort of...
Go ahead, Will.
I was just going to say, so that's sort of like an insurance policy, or an insurance claim on a specific...
Every 20 levels, you can protect one thing, let's say. I'm just going by, just for talk's sake, and then, maybe you can buy an extra one through the store. That's not really giving you an advantage, it's just, you want to protect an extra thing, so maybe, that you can only protect 5 things on your character.
So, yeah, definitely then hardcore should have some type of looting. That's probably the definition of hardcore server. So it's just a matter of what's fair and what's not.
Right.
Well, the equipment and everything is all the sockets. So, dropping the armor and stuff with all the sockets on it, the shells, there's no point in dropping the shells.
If I'm going to lose everything, I'm not going to spend all my fucking time loading myself up to go out there. I'll just run out there in the fucking nude if I'm going to have everybody, behind me. What do I give a shit?
10 minutes into a big PvP battle, everyone's naked.
Yeah.
Right, they spend all the time getting buffed up and geared up.
Have everything.
If I know I got 40 guys behind me, I don't give a fuck. Go run out there. Just like every other fucking game. I'm not going to waste my time.
There's also the question with how will this exactly affect the crafting economy when most likely no one's actually going to run out with their best gear. They're just kind of...
No, I'm going to display it in my house.
Yeah, they're just going to display it in their house.
Wear it.
What the hell's the point? Now, Leo talked about the shells here, but the shells, they already specified that they're almost certainly not going to make the shells losable. You're not going to be able to lose them. Because effectively all your stats come from the sockets. Now, the issue isn't really like that you're losing shit and stuff like that, but I have to watch my language, don't I?
No, it's all right.
Alright. But it's just that you effectively become useless at a certain point once you die, and then you lose all battle potential. And what there? Like seriously.
Could someone explain to me exactly what this shell is? I've read about it, but I don't quite understand that.
It's like a skin for like your equipment. So it's essentially the skin. It's like the clothes you put on top of yourself, of your like normal equipment, and then the sockets are. If I had to equate it to something, it's kind of like those enchanting like gem type stuff that you put in, but in essence they're the stats of your equipment.
So it's like a piece of armor that doesn't really have any stats, but you add the gems or whatever, and that carries all your stats.
However, I did realize just one thing though, flaw in my own argument, I think. It is in fact that the shells, at least for the weapons, do have some stats on them. They have attack. They all have a base like attack stat and whatnot on all of the weapons, and I'm pretty sure all of the armor. Like they're all the same though between the shells, from what I can tell.
So is each shell sort of represent what you want to do in game, kind of like your base?
Yeah, that's how you determine like what your stats are going to be. Like you want to do a tanking roll, then you put in sockets for tanking gear like damage reduction and whatnot, instead of armor penetration or critical hits or whatnot.
Well, if you remember in SWG where no matter what your profession was, you could wear comp armor, and it was the, I don't remember the term now, but it was the silver squares that you would add to your armor that gave you your stats. So you couldn't tell by what somebody's armor was what their profession was, because that's just the armor they chose to wear that you could see, but the stats would vary depending on what inserts they put in them.
Yep, that's exactly it.
But do you guys have anything else on corpse looting, or you want to go on to something else?
No, you can move on.
Oh, here's another sorry, my bad. Here's another. Here's another actually way to take it. It's actually kind of like in SWTOR when you had like the configurable weapons, the orange ones and stuff like that you put in like weapon parts in. It's kind of like that actually, because for your weapon sockets and stuff like that, I think they have like barrel stuff and whatnot. If I remember correctly, I'd have to watch the crafting video again.
Speaking of crafting, good segue, Jen. I don't know. We don't have Thoro in here or anyone that's big on crafting.
Oh, Leo is.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sweet. Well, here's something J.C. Smith said in the forums, and this sounds like good news to me. But he said, as one member mentioned, pretty much all the best gear is crafted. You can get some low-grade items from time to time from humanoids as drops, or from engagements and missions, but the main loot you gain from mobs is resources, and I assumed he meant to say to be used for crafting shells and collectibles and mission items. So I took that from that. I took that the crafters are going to have the best gear in the game versus that hard mob that you got and got that special drop. What do you guys think about that crafters being better than anything you can loot in game?
Well, you can't really downplay the importance of raiding, though. They did specifically mention that the raid bosses, things like that, although the crafting equipment will in fact be better than anything you can loot, the raiding bosses and world bosses and whatnot will in fact be very vital for the highest end crafting, because they will drop those rare materials for the equipment.
So they won't be useless then. They'll have the things you need to make the best loots.
Yeah. So they're not useless, they're actually necessary to get the best loot. Instead of getting your weapons straight from the boss, now you have a bit more options in terms of what you can build with those materials that you get from the boss.
Anybody got anything else they want to talk about crafting? Leo, you going to be a crafter? What are you going to do?
Not sure yet. They haven't quite figured out what they're gonna do with the healing and the traditional 3 triangle thing, so I don't know how, what parts are gonna be important and what are not. It's really too early to decide, honestly.
I think it's a big deal for crafted armor to be I don't know how you put it earlier, but it really creates an economy, a player-based economy, because people are crafting things and then that's supply and demand. In previous games, that was a huge deal. That's where your resources, the auction house, the gathering. I mean, that just starts an economy that the players use instead of we all rely on just the game and stuff we can buy from vendors, game vendors, not like Swig had player NPC type vendors, but it was all supplied by our own stuff, so it was just a huge deal. You could shop for hours and get all the best stuff because you knew who the best crafters were, which also helps supply your city with tax money and people coming and going, and which would create PvP. So it just kind of all piled up on its things in a bad way. It what's the word I'm looking for? Builds upon itself, and it just factors in many different things that are important in the game.
Well, speaking of selling your stuff, what has anyone got the straight scoop on vendors? Is it gonna be an auction house and vendors, or one or the other?
Well, it seemed like they were pretty dead set on having the auction house. They haven't. I'm not sure if I haven't really caught up with that aspect, but they will either have it a reverse auction house where you post what you need, or either that was an idea that they put out there, but they will in fact have some sort of auction house. It's just that they will make it so that there is incentive to actually go directly to the person to buy. Just throwing a number out there, I think they threw a number of something like 20 or 40%.
So the incentive is money?
Yes. Saving a lot of your credits or money.
I guess that sounds fine to me, I guess.
Back on the topic of crafting, though, one thing that's nice, though, about this kind of economy, though, is that you might be the greatest raid player ever, but now you can't sell like the best items, best equipment anymore. It's up to the crafters. So you actually have to invest your time into crafting the best items. So this way, no one rushes to be the best raid leader or max level or whatnot. Get the just farm high level equipment and sell it in the auction house for easy cash. Instead, it has to go through to a crafter, and then that just spreads more love to the economy.
So you're talking. Oh, go ahead. No, you're talking about the dependency that seems to be inherent in this game, whereas you can make a portion of whatever you're making, but you have to get like a cog or whatever from somebody else who makes it to create whatever you're doing, something like that. If that makes sense.
Something along those lines. Yeah.
So I'll have to wonder though. Do you have the ability to make a thing on your own, or is it always going to be dependent on someone else?
It's really just a matter of time, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can specialize in an area, and that's where the reverse auction house idea came up for the crafters. If you need something but you're not specialized in it, you can request it. And other people, like other crafters who are specialized in it, can put it in there, and you can buy it from them.
Okay, that makes sense then. So you don't have to go out and you don't have to have contacts. You can just buy it from the auction house then.
Well, the higher level stuff, you'll probably need to have a proper guild to get that. But some of the lower stuff, you'll probably can use the reverse auction house for most of it.
Well, for it's really just a matter of connections. Once you find people like maintain that connection with other high level crafters. You essentially don't even need to be in a guild. You just have to be able to communicate with them. Tell them I need this part, and then I'll pay you this much. And then you work together in a sense to make an item, and you sell that item. You give them a part of the cost of that part. Honestly, it might seem easier to work in a guild because you're all working together, but a solo crafter can totally do this do it on their own, as long as they, properly go and talk with the people they're dealing with. It's all about the communication, really.
And there's
suck at that.
already talk on the forums about creating rogue nations that are just crafter nations. So it's just going to be a bunch of crafters, and they're not going to have anybody to go out. So they need those connections.
You get an artisan group.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I know Fist would argue this definitely. In games like Darkfall, the crafters are actually the strongest, to say, because all the good crafters are together in a group. They make all the best equipment, so no one can really mess with them. They're going to be shortchanged on gear.
A lot of people have an alt too that supplies their main crafter with the supplies, or one that's a gatherer, one that's a crafter.
I really wonder about the need for an alt in a game like this, because the reason usually for people to have an alt is simply because you don't have enough enough skill slots to do what you need to supply yourself. But in this game, you can essentially do it all under character.
So you can be a master, so to speak, in every different skill set. You can be a master armorsmith,
Yes.
master weaponsmith, and everything.
Crap ton of time.
And I don't know if I like that as much, because then I don't know, it's less dependency on your other guild members or whatnot. If you just do it all on your own, and
You could do it all on your own, but the thing is, it's going to take a year or more just to master all those.
But how many people out there actually have that much time? Several that will spend their entire lives doing it,
Right.
So to master everything. And I like the dependency that you have on each other. This person's alt or this person's main gathers all my supplies for me. I know that, and it's just kind of nice to know that there's people out there that do different things.
Yes, I have to agree with you there. But I honestly, until I see it for myself, I really don't think that even if you try to master all your crafting, it's not really gonna, see how intricate they describe their crafting system is. Just to make one item, you have to have so many skills working together to make this item. But that also includes getting the resources, all of that stuff. So even with even if you master everything, the time it takes just to get all the equipment, create all the stuff, craft all the stuff, I think it'd still be quite effective to simply divvy out your skills.
I think they were saying it would take about a little over a year or more to grandmaster in one line. So it's not going to be an issue.
Really?
For, not for many years.
You sure? That must have been a recent thing. I read that. I thought it was more than a year to master most of your skills.
Most of them? I can't remember the stuff they were saying on the forums, but it'll take a while to master a lot of the stuff.
I hope we're still in the game in a year.
Yeah.
No, let's not.
I mean, there's games we paid to play, but we didn't last a year.
Well, here's to hoping.
It's been hyped all to hell.
Hey, don't be negative, Nancy.
I'm just being honest.
This is the first legitimate sandbox game we found, though.
This is
an
true.
AOC.
Yeah.
AOC maybe.
That we've heard of, we haven't played.
We have not played. No.
Yeah, the proof is in playing, that's for sure.
But at least the mindset's there, and they're claiming 2v1, and that's what they're striving for. So
I just hope there's enough people to have a hardcore server. I don't know if that's going to scare a lot of people away.
I agree.
Yeah,
A lot of people might try it because it's free to play, but if it's going to be griefing everywhere, then they're not going to play on that.
And full loops or corpse loop.
That was one of my fears actually with full loot. That's corpse loot in and of itself. The equipment that people have attachment to is usually the stuff that they're wearing. It's not the stuff in your inventory, like. And so I feel that as long as you don't have a full loot system and you have a corpse looting system, it'd be perfectly reasonable to just run around.
Well, you always see it on the forums, always yelling like, "Oh, we want full loot, we want permadeath." You guys aren't hardcore, but generally those people are trolls, and they don't know the repercussions of running around trying to defend your city in your underwear, because that's all you got.
Usually don't last that long. That's the real fear here.
I don't think full loot will last long in this game if it is implemented.
It's never lasted in any game.
Yeah, I mean,
Ultima Online started like that, and then they came up with the Switch and having 2 different servers, and it broke everybody apart, and it just fell apart. I mean, they want to make hardcore as real life as possible, where you can literally go up to anybody, even with the friendly fire discussion, and just kill whoever you want. But it doesn't last long on stuff like this. You're talking about people's time, and it's very time is money.
Well, I think for someone who's a player killer, they want recognition that they are better than the person they killed, and they also want some type of trophy. But so on the flip side of that, if I get killed, which I'm sure I will, that's fine if someone wants to own me. But I think, me personally, I value my armor the most, so I'd probably want to keep that in my weapon. The only problem is if let's say, and I don't know how the game is, if there's a spawn location nearby, what's to stop me from coming right back and attacking that guy, who may be weakened because I weakened him in the previous fight. So there's those kinds of things might be an issue.
You might be weakened, but now you have worse gear. It balances out, if not worse for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd be worse gear. If I held on to my gear, would it be damaged in some way? I wonder.
Well, here's the thing about the what's that called again? The durability system that they have here is that they have some sort of durability factor. They're gonna actually put this in the local server as well, where you use your equipment and you keep using it. You might have like the best sword ever, like no contest, but eventually you're going to lose that sword, regardless of full loot, corpse loot, or any loot at all, because as you keep using it, the durability will go down and you have to keep repairing it. But as you repair it, there's going to be a limit to how much you can repair this thing, and eventually it'll simply just break and you're done. There's nothing you can do about it. That's how they describe the system that they were trying to go with here. That's all. So
on hardcore or all over across?
all of them.
Across, yeah.
Familiar with that. That's what Sweet did.
So they talk about like moving equipment around, keeping the economy running, and whatnot. High-end equipment has a specific lifespan. It might be a fairly long one. I don't know, but eventually you're going to have to switch to another, awesome weapon. And with the crafting system here, you might never get the best weapon ever again.
Let's take a break of the discussion. We're talking about the repopulation with Jin, Leo, Lahira, and Nyrus, and myself. We'll get right back to that right after we try out this new segment called DC Game of the Week. Welcome to DC Game of the Week. I figure since we seem to play a different game every week, might as well do a segment on it. And you can't blame us. We're waiting for Repop. We're all excited. We're in TeamSpeak. We want something to do, so it's understandable. This week it is Dragon's Prophet. It's the game that I've been playing and a bunch of other DC members have been playing. Let me just say, this game is by Sony, and some people have a negative feeling towards Sony. I never had anything personally that I held against them too much, but this week when I go to log into Dragon's Prophet, I do so with no problems, but I changed the settings because that's what I do, and I log back out, log back in. Long story short, my account was banned. At least I thought so, and so was many other DC members. Apparently it was some kind of login issue that they had, but instead of saying you can't log in, it says you're banned, and that's just silly. It's crazy. So they kind of put a bad start to this whole thing. But in any case, I've tested this game for about 3 days now, over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I can tell you right now, day 1 I hated it, day 2 I was bored with it, and day 3 all of a sudden it's a little interesting. So let's take a look at this first clip. This is from day 1. The response times here are horrible. You click a button and it seems like an hour later you actually swing, right click, and it actually does something. But here's me attacking a rat, single rat. Now I stopped fighting because I know what's going to happen here. This rat somehow gets some type of bacteria disease or something. There it is, bacteria infection. And watch my health bar. Gave it one last little swing there, and I thought that rat's pretty tough to kill. How about a hyena? Now I think you guys see where I'm going with this. I think at the end of this little clip here, you're going to see me taking on 6, 7, 8, 9 hyenas, just letting them hit me. And as the sort of kind of tank class, I'm not taking any damage. I acquire health as I'm standing there. And that's my point, is if I can take on these many hyenas or rhinos or whatnot, why is one single rat taking me down in 10 seconds? Here I'm just standing here, and you can see my health bar is not going anywhere. So that, to me, even though this is obviously not a full review of the game, that sums up this game for me, is inconsistencies with the crazy attack animations. You swing, nothing happens. I'm right clicking it sometimes, you see in here, nothing's going on. There's little, obviously, other icons you can press, but they just slow response time, horrible graphics, glitches, and there, me taking out all the hyenas. One little extra one there. So as I play the game more and more that day, and the next day, day 2, I begin to realize that there's a pattern emerging as far as combat. It's not clicky clicky bunny jumping. This is, at least for the Guardian that I was playing, it was basically a pattern of attack, and then wait for their attack, and then counter attack. So kind of a little dance, so to speak. And as things went along with the Guardian, it got better and better. So let's take a look at day 2, how that went.
Let's make sure to run to the side of it.
What'd you say?
Make sure to run to the side or roll to the side. They're really fast and you're like doing a shitload of damage.
Why can't I capture this dragon? Why can't I not capture a boss? It's ridiculous.
What's the name?
Thunderous Raging Dragon King.
Huh.
So does everybody like that change? It makes it
So you can see it got better. It still felt a little sluggish to me. and I kind of left it at that. It's sluggish and unresponsive, and I guess that's just the way it is. Day 3, I wasn't going to go back and play, but I thought I'd give it another try. But instead of playing the Guardian, I decided to go back to the Ranger. I played that originally. I didn't do very well, but with this newfound knowledge of the way that combat's supposed to go, I decided to go back and give it a try. Let's see how that goes. Yay! Well, there you have it. The archer took on the end dragon in the beginning dungeon. It's instance-based. I had to have help with my pet. I did die a few times getting to him, but all in all, with spamming my specialty attacks and jumping around like a knucklehead shooting arrows, I was able to take him down. So I did have fun doing that. So there is that. That's a good point about this game. I still think overall it still feels slow and sluggish. So if you plan on playing this game, definitely give it at least 3 days to get used to it and find the right class for you. I would probably rank this game as average. It's nothing spectacular. It's not horrible, unlike my thoughts the first day. So feel free to download it and play. It's free to play. It's something to do until the Repopulation comes out, until next week when we play a different game. Feel free to visit us on the forums at www.dermenhoffclan.com or come jump into TeamSpeak and talk to us about what games you're playing this week. You can also stand by. I got a little clip here from the game. I just thought it was some little funny NPC I ran across. Thanks for watching. Get in my belly, you fat bastard. How about, do you guys want to talk about, let's see, I think multi-passenger vehicles. Now this was he responded to an old thread, and I couldn't quite make heads or tails. I can't even remember which owner it was. But
Makes sense. Sorry.
that's all right. But but he said this thread is a bit dated, but there already are multi-passenger vehicles. So that statement there, but there are already multi-passenger vehicles. I assume he means in the game. But then he goes on to a different sentence, working on platform code now that will hopefully make its way eventually over to vehicles so you can jump in and out of them, as well as have cargo selection where you can jump in the back. Now, I wonder if he's saying there's vehicles in the game, but you can't have a passenger. Does anyone hear anything about vehicles?
Not particularly, but from how he described it, I think I can't be 100% sure. I think safe or speak for this guy, but I think they have yet to make a proper either animation sequence or proper coding for having these people go into the vehicle. especially in like specific manners, like through the back or side passenger.
So there's probably vehicles right now, and their plan is to have passengers, which that would be good. That would be fun. A lot of people in that particular post were saying how they're with their buddy, and it's always difficult to get around, and it'd be great to have everyone hop in a vehicle. And
It's been around for 10 years in gaming.
what's that?
It's been around for over 10 years in gaming.
Yeah.
They're talking about having the vehicles have sockets, like all the shells, and you can add weapons and other things to the vehicles as well.
That would be cool.
I'd like to run
Someone
around
gets
in a
fucking
tank.
blown the fuck up, and now you're walking with your buddy.
Yeah.
You can give me a piggyback ride.
Can't be helped.
I'm gonna ride my animals.
It's your lot in life right there.
I wonder, did they say anything about flying machines or sea-bearing vehicles?
I think they will eventually, but at this point, they. I think I read somewhere they were considering it, but that's not until after release. I think flying kind of fits in with their little spaceship little planet shindig that they're eventually going to implement.
Now, we've heard that story before with SWG, and if I recall, the jump to light speed was the big deal, but it wasn't really integrated with the ground game, much like a Star Trek game, where you could get off your ship, but the two weren't intermixed. Now, are these going to be? I mean, could I literally take this spaceship and fly it straight into the clan building and smash you guys with it?
Whoa, let's go.
It's,
Not get fucking nuts.
I mean, are they two separate instances of a game, or are they going to be intermixed? I mean, I don't want to like, I'm going to go flying now and get in my spaceship and have no interaction with the ground war, like a World War II online. You had your tanks, you had your airplanes, and you had your boats. Everything affected each other. I could shoot, enemy with my plane if I could get
It's
that
like
low.
Battlefield.
You think it will be intermixed like that?
Why not? Why not take from that if you want? That worked out fine.
I feel like you can't really relate this to Battlefield because, in essence, Battlefield itself is a big instance, and their engine allowed for it. I don't really know all that much about the Hero engine too, but simply the mechanic of having a spaceship versus having a ground guy walking around or in a vehicle is completely different. You try to intermix those two, that's two different types of gameplays and interfaces. And then, if you're trying to make a big instance where you can fly in space and whatnot, and then go onto the planet, now that's all cool, but that's really hard to do in terms of making a single instance. Because that's just way too much resources that you have to put into that.
Well, go ahead.
It's really too early to tell with that stuff because there's several ways it can go. It can go like Battlefield, but then you'll have things like Battlefield 3 where everybody has a rocket launcher, so they can fight their starships.
Surface to air.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, they got a spaceship. Why not just blow a hole from orbit? I mean, they don't even have to come down. So it's... Yeah, that too. So it really is too early to tell, and it's really never been done before. So there's a lot of thought to go into that one.
There's also a matter of balancing. I mean, if you just take a look at Planet Side 2, for that matter, air power is just far superior in most cases, and ground can't do squat against it. And if you make it that way in a game where it's more of an RPG type element here, where the ground game is the most important, your city sieges and whatnot, you put air into this, and that just invalidates so much if you want to balance it properly. And if you nerf air power, then what's the point in having it in the first place?
Unless you have to have vehicles have to be charged in a specific way rather than use fuel or have unlimited usage, where, you know, the backstory for this, you know, them arriving on this type of planet, you know, what's to say they don't know what fuel is? So maybe everything's going to run on some type of high capacity battery where you only get so many hours per playing time or whatever the hell it may be, so you can't constantly be flying around or driving around.
Well, they came in their spaceships, so...
You know, they came from where they were. Just if we left and went to Mars, how much are you bringing fucking gasoline for everything?
I mean, you would imagine that fuel would be on the planet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The story's not finished yet, so that's what I'm saying. Nobody knows, and you know, everyone's asking 1,000 questions on the fucking forums about everything. That who knows what they're going to do? That's what I'm saying. If they balance it out where you're going to use a battery and you can charge, or have a time limit on different things like that, then maybe that would work. Otherwise, why not just fly the whole time?
Well, here's a scenario for you. If you get an aircraft, what's to stop you from reefing somebody all the time?
Absolutely. I don't think they're going to go that route. I mean, they're very hard up on this, you know, with the pets. So I think it's going to be a lot of ground for the first X amount of months probably before they roll out any type of expansion.
I think their newest expansion after this, I mean, this is, we're talking speaking here, but I think so far in terms of their development plans, the next expansion will either be the SeaWorld type area, the sea, they're already in development of that in a sense. And then the other one would be new planets, per se. And they might fit the lore in where there's other spaceships that survive the apocalypse and move to another planet and they finally made contact. But that's way later.
Yeah, that's their overall goal, is to get into space and new planets. But that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years out. I mean,
their overall goal is to get this fucking thing going.
Yeah, right now they just, pretty much we need to get into open beta to see it, because there's a lot of things that we don't know about.
I know. When's
the last time there was a MMO that was this intelligent? It's been a while for me.
We just went through one. We got it right in the asshole.
Which one?
AI intelligence is supposed to be cool.
Which one are you talking about, Nairis? This last Star Wars one?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah. Oh, well, you mentioned beta. Actually, I had something. Josh Halls talked about beta. He kind of listed like a schedule of the betas, and he says currently, as far as beta goes, we have this planned, and he listed as CB1, first beta round, guaranteed beta, in parentheses there, or quotes, not parentheses, that'd be sarcastic, or brackets. And the second one is CB2 second round and preferred, and CB3 not open beta, but more people in from forums, backers, etc. We will start doing guild testing at this point, as well as testing full scale siege battles, etc. And it goes on to say we probably will do stress testing after these as well, but public stress testing will come closer to public beta launch. I guess my question is twofold on this one. Is where are we on that schedule? I guess we're in alpha, so we're not even. He must be talking specifically about beta. And isn't that an awful lot of testing to be done? I mean, I don't think any official word has come out, but everyone's speculating within this year, right? As far as when the game's coming out. When do you guys think the game's coming out, and what do you think about this beta schedule?
Well, their plan was by the end of fourth quarter 2013, so we're guessing December here. Now, alpha, this will be their last stage of alpha. They made it somewhat clear on that. In terms of the reason why they're having so think those betas are going to be all that long. In any case, unless they just add more people to it and eventually get to the whole stress testing part. But the reason they're doing this is simply because there's so many beta, preferred beta and guaranteed beta access guys who, I mean, how do you appease these guys who paid money? You got to make them beta. And there's really nothing you can do about that. Although their initial goal though is to make it by PAX Prime beta at least release.
Do you think for the backers, the people who paid money, if they get into the beta, do you think there's going to be any deal whereas we get to keep our characters and our stats, or do you think it's going to be a wipe?
I highly doubt they're going to let us keep. The reason is, I mean, they haven't really announced anything, I think, unless you'd have to look for search for that. But the reason I don't believe they will keep the characters is because it's a free-to-play. And simply the fact that you have a beta, you have your character, and you have all the skill ups and stuff. It's just an unfair advantage to those who paid.
That, and there were levels for those who paid, and on those levels you got certain numbers of head start. So they gotta wipe it anyway.
There's also the head start issue. That's usually a clear indicator that they're gonna wipe.
So, Jin, you're thinking sometime in December?
You know, honestly, I'm starting to doubt that. For reasons I cannot say in this podcast.
Owner.
Yeah, I'm thinking they'll get into beta around the end of the year, honestly. I'd rather them get all their shit together and everything known before they go into beta.
Sure.
I don't know, if they pull an all-nighter from today on to PAX Prime, I think they could get a beta going before PAX Prime. Because really, honestly, it's not a matter of if they'll get beta in by the end of this year or whatnot. They kind of have to get beta in by PAX Prime.
Or they're going to have to wait to the next big show then.
Because PAX Prime is like the biggest gaming convention, just in the U.S. at least. And if they don't make it to PAX Prime, an indie game, they are most and they don't advertise really well. They're probably not gonna get the recognition that they need to get this game rolling once it starts.
Lahira, what do you think? When will open beta start, or when will the game launch? What do you think?
I was hoping open beta would come around in summer, but the second round of alphas that were supposed to go out with hardware's suggestions and things like that, those still haven't come out. They were supposed to be last week. So it seems like they're trying, they're just kind of behind a little bit maybe, which is unsurprising. So I was hoping a December release. That's usually when they try to do it anyways.
That was their plan.
That was kind of what some of us were kind of betting on, but I don't think it's going to be released this year.
Nyrus?
Well, a lot of us didn't start beta on SWOTR until August, and that game came out in December. So you never know. If they can get beta to start within the next 2 months, there might be some hope.
The real issue is whether they have the game at a state for beta.
Right.
Because the problem with releasing a beta too early is that people make impressions off the beta. And
sometimes you get the wrong people in beta and they start judging the game based on beta.
Exactly. So that's why they need to have this in a proper form, at least to a certain completed form, before they reveal this.
And they've mentioned
it's under NDA. You should not be mentioning that.
That's just my opinion, since nobody's in it.
Yeah. They've also mentioned they'll take as much time as they need to get it good and done. So their goal is that, but
they're under no real obligation in terms of time frame, especially since they started as a Kickstarter. They are under an obligation to finish the game though.
Right.
Else they just go to jail.
Yeah.
Those lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, every game, you know, they always start off with the fact that we're not going to put it out until it's ready. You know, the beta is going to test, and we're not going gold until it's done. But they have the pressure from the backers, or not the backers, but the publishers. But of course, that's not the case here. Whereas they're independent. And do you think that they'll always stay that way? What if someone like Sony or somebody comes up and say, "Hey, we want to pay you $1 million"?
No.
Worry, hope that never happens.
I don't believe that they would, but I mean, you never know. I get the impression they are going to take their time. I hope they stay that way, because that's what's really going to make or break the game.
I think if anyone picks it up, it would be after it's released.
They would need to retain artistic creativity on the damn thing. So, if they're going to back it up, nobody can give any input. They're it.
It's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah.
Guys. Well, I don't know. I might not mind it if Trion Worlds took over.
Well, I've ran out of topics. Anybody else want to bring something else up they want to talk about? Anything pressing on your mind? What's going on in the clan? Anything going on interesting? We're playing some games. What game we?
Like 10 different games.
Yeah. I actually, by the time anyone sees what I'm saying now, I'm going to insert Game of the Week somewhere in this video about the game that we're playing. We'll see how well that goes over. But
That's sad that we're going to have a different word each week.
yeah, and I won't have to reach for that because I'm sure next week someone else will come up with a game.
It's ridiculous. It's fun because, I mean, you got to keep the guys active. I mean, we're recruiting people from the Repop forums. They come in and everyone just kind of sits around. Well, what do you think of the game? No. So, I mean, it's good to have games and the guys doing stuff, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I can't afford $40 every week to buy the damn game.
Yeah. Well,
Cheaters.
Yo,
We're developing bad habits. Game hopping.
well. So what, Jin? What are you playing? Minecraft now?
Minecraft. Me and Leo actually. It's Dragon's Prophet yesterday. Got ourselves to level 20, I think. In just
Got
like 2
on
hours.
band. Yay.
Oh yeah, we got on band.
That was awesome.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Lahira, what games you playing?
When I can get in a queue, Rift. No, I can't. I've been forbidden to buy any more games. I have Dragon's Prophet, Defiance. What was the other one? Just before Dragon's Prophet.
Neverwinter.
Neverwinter.
Yes, Neverwinter. Those are all the ones on my list.
Before that, Defiance, and then before that, what was before Defiance again?
Secret World?
Secret
Sim
World.
City.
Secret World.
Sim
was
City.
it?
No, it was Sim City.
SimCity. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, they just had an update. So.
I see. Rift has went free to play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the queues, if you're a free to play player, the queues could be up to 3 hours long.
I still have a sub for that game, so I think I'm good.
Iris, what you playing any games?
Dragon's Prophet.
Dragon's Prophet. You sound extremely excited about it.
No, I'm just the only one I play. I don't really hop around too much.
This guy
You're
is
playing
excited.
It's too valuable.
You were playing SimCity.
Yeah, when everybody else was. That's also 3 months ago.
There's no update.
Yeah.
There's nothing. Once we drop a game, we never look back.
That's
After
right.
I saw the little clip of your guys' Minecraft battle with Fist, I don't think I'm going to keep it.
That was fun.
Hey, Fist is actually quite well behaved in Minecraft.
He blew up your house.
That was the other server.
Yeah, we were just that's his first time in. Basically, we were just kind of manhandling him, so you had to get it
We
out.
kind of trapped him inside an unbreakable area, and we made him fight monsters. We spawned monsters inside his little cage and just watched him.
Well, and then I see Wolf throwing armor on him, and I'm going, you can throw armor on people, and he's like, yeah, and then he's handing him dynamite. You know, until you watch him.
Yeah, I got busted. I forgot. I tried to edit that out as best I could, but
Oh, God.
anything else going on client-wise? We got people coming in. I see new people,
We got new members.
new members.
Yeah, we got quite a few, actually. No longer a newbie.
Then we got 5 this last.
Well, Rory, who's also known as Anna something,
Never
he's
remember.
friends with the newest applicant, Anox Tail, I want to say.
And Akita? And Chris?
No, I don't know. That's what I was asking you guys. I'm not sure who that is. I never saw him,
But we seriously don't know this kid.
but I don't know.
Who's the
That's why I
info?
asked you guys. I'm like, who's Anna?
Oh. Well, from what I think it's
Lights on.
Witness protection program.
Was it Dark?
Yes.
Oh, and then there's Object. You guys.
Object,
know
yeah.
the Object in TeamSpeak. He's from the Repopulation.
We should probably pull him in here someday to talk to him. He's pretty knowledgeable.
With the games, yeah, I was kind of like, what the hell is he talking about after 2 minutes?
Oh, on that note, witness protection for a gamer is hell. Especially if you're in a guild or just a game in general, you have to pretty much cut ties with.
How do you know?
Yeah. How's this?
Who did you kill?
How's this a topic?
I'd have to kill you to tell you.
You have to change your handle and your email. It's a bummer. Well, that's it for this week's show. We hope you enjoyed it. You can reach us at www.dermanothclan.com.